So, dear colleagues, welcome to this Elite and Ophthalmic Practice Development webinar, Leverage or Be Leveraged. It's your chance to discover powerful strategies to advance your practice or business to new heights. The strategies have been designed for entrepreneurs ready to tap the full potential and take their venture to the next level. I'll not stay here long and introduce you to the experts. We have got two experts on this uh, webinar who will be speaking on various aspects of this thing. I think I could join my presentation here. So it's the webinar of Elite and Ophthalmic Practice Development. They have combined it to give an online session on leverage or be leveraged. Our guest of speaker is Mr. Dharmendra Satapathy. He is the founder of Next Level Education. He is a renowned financial mentor and a strategic thinker whose writings and talks have inspired lakhs of people make the right financial decision. He'll be sharing us with the most intricacies of finance and getting your things to the maximum utilization. Our next speaker is our own Dr. T. Senthil, who is the founder of Ophthalmic Practice Development. It started almost 10 years back, and he has got more than, I think, few lakhs of followers. More than 6,000, I think, if I'm right. And he's an ophthalmologist and healthcare entrepreneur, and his mission is to help doctors realize their true potential. He is a good friend of mine, and I got a lot of inspiration from him. So over to you, Dr. Satpathy, please. Mr. Satpathy.
Yeah. Hello, sir, and thank you so much for inviting me for this session. I think we are having a sound coming from somewhere.
Yes. I will just give me one.
I think we can once unmute everybody and then unmute.
Yes.
Okay. So let me just start this program by helping you understand what we mean by this leverage or be leveraged. Okay, and this is a part of a program that Dr. Senthil and I have been involved for the past over 1 year now. The overall, the big picture program that we are developing is called Skill to Scale. And as Dr. Senthil will continue discussing with all of us, you will get an idea about the larger picture. But leverage or be leveraged, basically there is a, to help you understand that, Steve Jobs had once mentioned that either you live your dream or you become part of somebody else's dream. So in a simple way, the word lever or leverage means you are using less, you're using a lever, you're using some tool that makes you do your business better, makes you do your work better. So when we lift a car is a very heavy thing and there's a puncture. So what we do is we fix the apparatus and then we turn it around and the car gets picked up. And such a heavy car, even a very small stature person can lift it by using the lever. So that's the lever. So when you want to pick up something very heavy, you have a long rod and you have a fulcrum. And if you are holding the longer side of it, you can pick up a very heavy object. And Archimedes had said that if you give me a very, very long rod, I can pick up the earth also. So that is lever. So lever is a very, very interesting concept. And practitioners per se, when we, like people who are practitioners, whether it's a doctor, an architect, a chartered accountant, who have basically been educated and after education, they have been running a single show. That is, they are not part of an organization. So what happens is, in this journey of being a practitioner, what you really miss out is on using levers. And that is what we'll tell you. What are levers? There are different kinds of levers. And leverage is the essence of scaling up a business and creating a lot of wealth. So as I said, either you become a leverage or you leverage. When you become a leverage, in a way, in a manner of speaking, can be that if you are an employee of a hospital, obviously you are being paid a good
Yes.
amount of money, but there is the owner of the entrepreneur who's running the hospital. For him, you are a leverage. Okay, so you are not taking advantage of leverage, you are somebody else's leverage. So now we will learn a few things from Dr. Senthil about different kinds of levers and how, if you utilize these levers, you can multiply the number of hours per day. Now that's the reason I'm asking you this concept is a very interesting concept. All of you know that your day starts, let's say, at 10 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning and ends at 6 or 5 o'clock, and there's a break in between. In this period, if you are seeing a patient, you're going to see a patient for, let's say, 15 minutes, and let's say in 1 hour, you're going to see 4 or 5 patients. And let's say you work 8 hours a day, and the eight into 4, 8 into 5 is the maximum number of patients that you can see in a day, because that is the 8 hours that you have. Now, if I were to say liver is something that is a time manufacturer, it manufactures time for you. So manufacturing time doesn't mean that we can negotiate with God and increase our lifespan. Okay, but still there is a way in which you can manufacture time. So your 8 hours per day can also be 80 hours per day. And I think that creates some intrigue, I guess, in you to want to know more about levers. And for that, I would invite Dr. Senthil to continue this discussion and expose you to levers.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Am I audible and can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you for Dr. Vinod Arora for organizing this very interesting meeting and uh, uh, through
Your
the
voice.
ILA
So your sound has suddenly not.
and thanks to. So, am I audible, sir, now?
Now clear.
Hello?
Yeah, in between you are not audible. Now you're audible.
Yeah. Maybe my internet is a little unstable. So am I audible now? It's
Yeah, yeah,
clear
audible.
now, sir.
You're audible.
So basically, this leverage or be leverage that I read it somewhere and I found it to be a very catchy phrase because it is something like either you learn leverage or you are getting, everybody, every working professional or every doctor can be either utilizing leverage or be leveraged. There are only two ways to that. And then I thought this is something interesting and we thought of as Mr. Dharmendra sir said that we wanted to address each aspects of the skill to scale component. And then maybe today we thought the first aspect which we should talk is this most interesting concept of leverage or be leveraged. And we are in an era where there is this infinite opportunity to use leverage for us. Basically, over the next 10-15 minutes, I will explain to you like how we can actually we one of the most advantageous generations which is present now, where we have multiple tools for leverage, and how can we use it in our own practices to multiply yourself into 10 times, 20 times, and 100 times. How can one Dharmendra can become 1,000 or 1,000,000 Dharmendras, and how can one Dr. Vinod Arora can become hundreds and thousands of Vinod Aroras? I think that is the essence of this concept of leverage. So, as this my favorite author Robert Kiyosaki, let me start with this concept of leverage. So he says like people with leverage have dominance over people with less leverage. In other words, just as humans gain advantages over animals by creating leverage tools, similarly, humans who use these tools of leverage have more power over humans that do not. So, saying it more simply, leverage is power. I think one way whoever whoever utilizes this concept of leverage, whoever utilizes leverage is people who will be having this, understand about it a little bit more. So as Dharmendra sir also said, leverage is how can I do a lot more things with less? Let me start with the small story where there was this king who thought that most of his people are very, very lazy, and he thought he had to do something to motivate his own citizens. And he put this huge boulder of stone in the pathway which leads to the village. And then there is no other way leading into the village. He put a large rock stone, boulder of stone in that pathway. So everybody went, they were trying to push it. They were not able to push it. And then there are people who tried to climb over it and go. That was also not possible. So there are people who tried to break it. That was also not possible. And there are many people like whatever happens in the society, they started cursing the king. Oh, the king has become mad. And why is he doing these kind of nonsense and all? Then there was this person who came and then he cut a huge branch of a tree and then he used it as a lever to lift the boulder. And then, because even with a very less power, just like how a small jack of a car can lift that entire car, which is maybe thousands of kilos. So leverage is something which you can use smaller, less power or less to do more. So that is the concept of leverage. And when this boulder was lifted by that man, and the king had hid a pot of gold under it. So every obstacle is also a way for us. And then we should always find out ways to leverage. So how do we utilize this concept of leverage in our medical practice? I think that is what we are going to talk during the session. And let me put you through the other slides. So historically also leverage plays a lot of role. Ancient humans, so when there was the ancient human, whichever man had the stone tool made out of stone, he had that leverage, because over the other people he had leverage because he was having the stone tool which he was using to create fire, he was using it to hunt animals, so he had this leverage. Then when agriculture started 400, 500 years back, the person who owned the land had the leverage. So other people were only working for him, but the man who owned the land had this leverage. And then when industries came in, like Ford and all these companies started coming in, person who owned the machinery had this leverage. And then 20 years back, with the advent of information technology, software was the leverage. People who could code and people who had software like Google and Yahoo, these people had this leverage. And now who has the real leverage is the platforms like say Uber, Oyo, and all these people who have this platform, people who have data, people who code, and media. Media has given us the most important leverage because you can use media to leverage and then reach out to a lot of people. Like see this what's meeting also, maybe today only 25 people, 30 people are seeing, but without any marginal cost of replication, we can upload it and slowly it can reach thousands of people. And even somebody who is in a remote corner of the world can use the media leverage to kind of reach out to a lot of people. And data, as I said, people who own data has leverage. So historically, leverage is power. As Robert Kiyosaki said, the more leverage you have, the more power you have. So unproven historically, right from the age of the ancient humans to the new platforms and new age, leverage is what we need to have to kind of develop ourselves.
म्हणजे
So the other concept which we will also want to drive through is most of the time when you're not using leverage, you earning with your time, or you're only trying to work with your time. Like when you're employed in a hospital, or when you're also self-employed, most of the time your success and your earning, everything is dependent on your time. But when you start using leverage, you are also going to earn with your mind. So I think that is also important. And as I started in the beginning, we are in this age of infinite leverage. And only when we use the leverage, we are going to be successful and we are going to be powerful. And how do we earn with our mind? Is using the concept of leverage. So this is the simple tool, like you use this crowbar to lift a heavy load, which otherwise you cannot lift on your own. So you use a pivot and then a long crowbar to lift this huge load. So what are all the leverages which we can use? actually other people, labor is the oldest form of leverage. Like when you employ other people, you get this, you can use the other people's time, the other people's money, and then other people's knowledge, other people's skills, other people's energy, efficiency, other people's intelligence. So this OP forms a very important point of leverage, and I don't think we should be shameful about using, because whoever has used all these are the people who have really created legacies, created valuations for themselves. Like one doctor practicing in a clinic and is using only his time. But if the same doctor can employ other people, if the same doctor can employ another 10 doctors, or if the same doctor can utilize more and more money from other people, utilize other people's knowledge, skill, and efficiency, energy, and even his intelligence, I think that is when leverage also helps. So I don't think we are not stealing anybody's money. We are not stealing anybody's, not stealing anybody's skill,
So we are losing your voice a bit.
but we are also going to use it on leverage. Well, is it better now, sir? Am I audible? Hello?
You can repeat the
Hello?
previous slide. You can repeat the previous slide.
Okay. So basically, this slide is one of the most important slides of this talk. Basically, what are all the different types of leverages? So the OP plays a very important role. Other people's time, like labor or other people's time, is the oldest form of leverage which you can have. Other people's money, basically, when you, because you can also use money as a leverage. Other people's knowledge, other people's skills, other people's efficiency, other people's intelligence. So there is no shame in using these things, because I don't think there is anything unethical. The biggest corporations were created by using other people's, even Ratan Tata or Amazon or Ambani's, everybody uses these things. And even as a person running the country, he also doesn't, the prime minister cannot do everything by himself. He uses all these leverages to run the country. So even if we are going to do a business, and if you want to create a successful legacy, I think we should also start using all these leverages like time, money, knowledge, skill, energy, and efficiency, or even intelligence. So let us get into each of these aspects and see in detail. So labor is the oldest form of leverage. Like when you employ another person, you are using the other people's time, like right from the laborer who cooks in your house, to the driver, to the doctor who works in your organization, to the CEO you employ. This is going to be, you are using other people's time. But labor is the oldest form of leverage, and cloning yourself to 10, 100,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, or more than that is, you can try using other people's time. And basically, when you're going to use this other people, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room, or in your hospital, or in your clinic. Basically, because as a doctor, we always want to be the smartest person in the room. But what you have to understand is, maybe Ratan Tata or maybe Asim Premji is not the smartest person in Wipro, but he has got the ability to employ people who are smarter than him. So basically, I think we have to also understand the concept that if we have the capability to employ the smartest person, I think that is also important. And as doctors, we also don't want to collaborate. We always try to compete with each other. But most important aspect is using other people's time is learn to collaborate with other people. And collaboration need not be with the same specialty, same type of people, but we can collaborate with multiple people. We will talk about that also in detail. So hopefully, I think we are understanding this concept, and if there is any question also, maybe please stop me in between. But understanding that leverage is using all these different other people is also very, very important. So labor was the oldest form of leverage, which people have used right from the years when we were ruled by kings. Now, if you also can, money is another form of leverage, because with a little bit of money, you can have one clinic, but if you have additional funding, you can have two clinics, you can create 100 clinics. So use money as a form of leverage. It's also interesting. A lot of people have tried that. And if you are able to raise a lot of capital, if you're, see the biggest corporate eye hospital chains, what are they doing? They use other people's labor, but they also use other people's money. The money can come from venture capital, when money can come from private equity investors, money can come from IPOs, lot of ways to get the money. But basically, most commonly, we also think that only if I have money, I can grow my business. But I think money is not needed. Just like you are wanting the money, there are people with money who are looking for good ideas. So the biggest of the companies, the largest of the corporations were created with maybe money as little as $100, $1,000. There are not many big legacies which are created by using initially investing lot of money also. And there is another way. There is now other ways of raising money, such as crowdfunding, or even using the customer money. So patients are going to pay us. So use it to grow. I think really, not everybody have to go to a VC or an angel or a private equity, but also grow internally also using the customer's money. So that is also other form of leverage. So the first form of leverage is labor. But the problem with labor, as you know, is managing a lot of people is becoming more and more hectic today, because getting job done by people is also very difficult. So only as labor as a form of leverage may not be the full solution to be using the leverage. Second aspect is using other people's money. So collaboration, as I said, if you want to leverage, you also have to collaborate. Collaborate with, as doctors, we think that, okay, should I only collaborate with another doctor? But it is not exactly that way. You can collaborate with anybody. Collaboration can happen online. Collaboration can work in multiple ways. And one thing which we have to drive in our minds, because now we see a corporate has come near me, this hospital has built near me, or this non-profit has come with near me, but competition is always going to be there. Consolidation is always going to be happening. But how do we collaborate with, we
Again,
also in
again,
space
again,
if
again,
you really want,
you have to
because
repeat,
there
sir.
is a
You have to
little bit
repeat.
of, am I audible, sir?
You have to repeat a little bit of this.
Okay. So basically I said that instead of competing with everybody, because the biggest thing which we see is a corporate hospital has opened near me. A charity kind of have this anxiety that these are come near and this competition is catching up. Competition is a reality and consolidation is a reality. So basically, we should see how do we collaborate with the competition rather than a kind of chicken out or think that the competition is going to kill me. So there will be a way to collaborate with the competition also. The other aspect is we always think that as a doctor, I should only collaborate with them. I have not collaborated only with doctors. If you see organizations which are non-profit, the largest non-profit hospitals, collaborate right from Microsoft to a Google, like the Arvind Eye Hospital has collaborated with Microsoft and Google to create the AI. They collaborate with governments, they collaborate with international NGOs, they collaborate with a lot of people. So collaboration need not be only with the hospital, collaboration need not be only with another doctor, collaboration can be with anybody. So there might be multiple ways to collaborate, and we need to put our minds to think that how can I collaborate with the other person to create things. So, like even this webinar is a collaboration with Dr. Vinod Arora, because he runs this interesting WhatsApp group. So we can collaborate with them. So I have come to Hyderabad now. So I have collaborated with a person who runs a medical expo. I have collaborated with Dharmendra sir, who has got a very different skill set. So he is a financial expert. So you can collaborate with anybody and find the common ways of working together. And if you want to consider leverage, I think collaboration is also very important. Okay. So what are the other forms of leverage? So basically technology. The more and more you use technology, I think that can also be a form of leverage. So if you are having the latest equipments, if you are having the fastest equipment, the latest laser cataracts and all those things, technology, or if you have a software which can streamline your clinic well, or if you have a appointment fixing software, if you have a software which can kind of call back patients. So technology utilization is also another form of leverage, and the most important leverage is knowledge. If you have knowledge, I think knowledge better than the other person, that can also be another form of leverage. Not the knowledge need not be only in ophthalmology. The knowledge can be from multiple sources. The knowledge can be in multiple fields. The most successful people who have utilized leverage are people who have got multiple levels of knowledge in different fields. Like maybe even if you see Naval Ravikant, he has got knowledge in philosophy, knowledge in spirituality, knowledge in physics. So I think the knowledge has to be multidimensional. That can also be a leverage. I think before I finish, I would also like to drive upon this point, the last point which I put in bold. Products or services with zero marginal cost of replication are the ultimate form of leverage. So let me explain. So let's say you are creating a software code. So this code, to create that time, it needs a considerable amount of time and money. But once the code is created, it doesn't need a replication cost. You don't have to spend a lot of money to replicate it. Or you create a YouTube video, you create it once and you have put it, just like this guy, Mr. Beast or Joe Rogan and all these people. They create these YouTube videos, they upload it once, and there is no marginal cost. They're not investing more and more money, but the same video can be seen by 1 million people, 10 million people, 35 million people. YouTube keeps giving money. So for them, so code and media. So basically, these are the two things which majority of the times does not have marginal cost of replication. So how do you employ? So maybe you would be thinking, why am I talking this to ophthalmologists? Still, as an ophthalmologist or a doctor, you can still understand that by creating a small YouTube video or by creating a media content, by creating your Instagram content. I think these are products which you can do individually. And these things don't need anybody's permission, and these things don't need a lot of money to create. But these things can create a huge impact of leverage. There is no marginal cost of replication. And a small YouTube video or a patient education video can get you lakhs and crores of business also if you put it in a good way. So the products, identify products or services which have this zero marginal cost of replication. I think that will be the ultimate form of leverage. And mostly that is coming from coding software, but we cannot be coders, but we can still utilize media. So media and the biggest corporations, the biggest conglomerates are not going to be created by Ford or these kind of motor companies, but we will see people like Joe Rogan, or we will see people like Mr. Beast, who are already valued at billions of dollars. Somebody who just runs a YouTube channel, somebody who is just having 10 people working with them, but having this large YouTube channel is already valued at billions of dollars. So the next corporations are not going to be corporations which has got this industrial infrastructure or thousands of employees, but maybe somebody sitting in a room and creating a YouTube video, or somebody who's disrupting the technology. So the biggest form of leverage is going to be something, products or services which have zero marginal cost of replication. So what are those products which we can identify in ophthalmology as a practitioner and try to use it? Like this video with this Zoom which we are creating also doesn't have replication. How much are we spending to do this webinar? So maybe we don't spend anything at all. I'm sitting in my hotel room. Dharmendra sir is in his house. So you are not having a studio. You're not investing thousands of rupees to do this. So these are products which have very minimal cost or zero cost of replication, and these are going to do the kind of leverage which we really want to have. So I just want you to think on those lines, and then we will have the. So yeah, that brings the end of my presentation, and I hope I have driven my concept, and maybe if there are questions we can take, or Dharmendra sir can also post his queries, and then most of the things I've also said are some of the things which I've read from Naval Ravikant. The due credits to all the authors who have given that knowledge, and I'm just repeating what they have said, and it's not that I have created something, but a lot of things I've understood. I want to you also to understand. That is the idea. Yes,
I would
sir.
just like to elaborate some things on leverage. I'll give you the example of my journey in corporate world. I was the head of marketing at Tata Mutual Fund. So during my education and all the way till doing an MBA, doing my engineering, the focus was always to stand first in class or be in the top 5 or the top 10, to be a good student, to be better than others. Then I got a job, and eventually I got into the corporate world. And the initial years continued to be like a student. And I had to compete with my fellow colleagues for a promotion and things like that. And then gradually, as you become a leader, as you rise, you realize that here on there is no path for competition. In fact, I have to ensure that I need to train people better, make them even better than me, and I collectively represent them. And what they do is what I do, and that is what the management sees. And unfortunately, in India, we have always had this competitive mindset. But you look at any corporate, any leader, a leader cannot have a competitive mindset because he has to create a lot of people who work for a shared vision, and he represents all of them. If you look at any brands, you look at a restaurant, a hotel, you will never find the owner anywhere in the restaurant or in the hotel because he is sitting somewhere else. So I think if you come, when this topic of leverage is being discussed, I think one thing that clearly, I think practitioners, whether they are chartered accountants, architects, or doctors, you need to keep in mind is that you need to have this mindset of training other doctors, sharing your secrets, and creating more doctors under you, and
ஆரம்பிச்சா
then creating a brand that you own, but a lot of people attached to that brand and the purpose of the brand. And I think one major, perhaps I would say something that is difficult to do, okay, is actually to share things where you are very skillful, your skills, sharing your skills with others, and to train them and to make them quickly like you or better than you is a big hurdle. But I think that is the key to leverage. Once you understand that collaboration actually scales and allows you to not only enhance your income substantially, but also at some stage allows you to kind of disappear and still the income continues to flow. That means converting your active income into your passive income. That can only happen when you have a team that works for you and under your guidance, under what you have defined, and something that you own, that perhaps the brand or the hospital. So that is one important form of leverage. Second thing I've noticed, many doctors say they are collecting money to start a nursing home, and they want to build a nursing home with their own money. They want to, and eventually maybe their wife, or a family member are going to be practicing from the nursing home. Now, this is again, when you are saying that I'm going to buy my land, and construct my own building, what you are basically doing is you are going to take 10 to 12 years to do that. Now, that is where you have lost a lot of time. And all of you know that all of us have very limited time in this world. So when you do leveraging, means you are collaborating, that same hospital, the same nursing home with many more doctors should be created perhaps in 3 years, not 10 years. And that's where you will also manufacture time and you'll be able to experience scale. So I just wanted to elaborate a bit more on what Dr. Senthil said. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I think maybe I don't know what is the understanding of the audience, and if maybe if we can have some questions from the
Yeah,
audience,
I think
I think we can take it up from there.
a few questions.
First thing is
Can the audience,
have
in the chat box at least reflect on what we have been discussing for so long, with like, have you understood, yes or no? Yes means at least you've understood 30, 40, 50% of what we are talking. And a no means we have not been able to communicate. So that will give us an idea as to how many are paying attention and how many are there, because we can't see you. But at least we will get an idea that you have understood. Thank you so much for the uh, for
We are very happy that everybody has said yes. Because it was a little tricky topic, so we thought maybe whether there is too much of business in it. And see, the whole idea is to create that thinking process. Because see, how many of us can imagine that when Ford and all these bigger corporations are billion-dollar companies, how can somebody like Mr. Beast who creates a YouTube channel can become a billion-dollar company? So maybe I'm just not evaluating everything on the basis of money, but even as an enterprise, so people have used the leverage of media. So I think the most important point I want to drive is all of us should start creating content. So basically, every doctor should be now creating his own content, either in terms of, see, if you write a book, so the book reaches millions of people. If I talk here, I can reach only to 35 people. But if I write a book, the book is also a form of leverage. So, and that leverage can also help us improve the business also. So I think some of them. So maybe if we have any questions from the audience, we can take some questions and we can just go.
So, sir, I just want to add one more point. So
Yes,
there
sir.
are for doctors who are starting their career, there is one kind of leverage is that you make yourself more popular by going on YouTube, educating people, or even if you are owner of a brand under the name of the brand, you are doing all these kind of things so that people get attracted towards you. Because there's one thing, you have to first give and then get. So whether it is advertising, marketing, you have to give. So once you give education, help people, they get attracted. There are two places they can get attracted to. They can get attracted to you as an individual doctor, okay, and they can get attracted towards a brand that you have created. Now, there's a big difference between the two. One is I do a lot of education, I make myself popular, and I get a huge queue of patients. Now, the point is, I still have only 8 hours a day, and I can't increase my capacity. Okay, so while the one level of leverage is popularity, now whom you are making popular is very important. If you're making yourself popular, then again there's going to be a roadblock. So it's more important that you assist your institution popular, so that even if there are a lot of patients coming, and parallelly you transfer your skills and knowledge to other people, train them well, and under your name, under your brand, they start catering to the patients. And obviously, if they're coming under your brand name, and if they're trusting you and they're coming, that means all the doctors performing under you have to be at least as good as you or even better. So it works like parallelly. You need to make yourself popular, but whom you are making popular is very important, whether it is the brand or whether it is you yourself. So leveraging is very, very important for practitioners who want to move into the world of entrepreneurship, so that they earn more of passive income, have more time to themselves, can participate more in research and submit white papers, and attend more conferences, or do something else, create focus on the hospital that they have created and make it more popular, increase its valuation. So there's a different world that exists beyond practice, even in any fraternity.
So here is my question, that how to make effective marketing as such without spending too much. I would say giving a positive attitude of your brand or your center, how you can create a positive reflection there.
So the positive marketing is created like what Sir said, through YouTube channels, through your popular YouTubes, and then of course you'll again have to consult somebody who understands the social media. Who see finally you make a beautiful video.
They already
If
changed
it reaches
clearly.
less number of people, it's not going to help. Even if a slightly less perfect video reaches more number of people, it works. So you have to again collaborate with people who can take your message to more number of people. So, but again, very important point, while you do marketing, now there is no point, I'll just repeat that again. There's no point me marketing something, if I have a single shop and I'm sitting alone over there and I get 100 people in front of me, the next day nobody will come to me because I'm unable to serve them. So again, what's more important is your institution has to be popular and you have to stand for the institution and you need to create scale. So if there are more number of people, you need to serve them more. Because one thing is for sure that howsoever good you are in any particular field, you cannot increase your fees to whatever you feel like. I mean, a doctor who's practicing, and if all the doctors in that particular city are charging 500 rupees, now suddenly he can't charge 5,000 rupees unless he's doing a procedure which is only he knows in the whole in the whole state or whole city. So unless it's a very unique case, you will have to be with the market. So if you're with the market, then you can only earn that much, but you can't increase it. So that's where leveraging becomes very important. So when you leverage, you create it, and I'll tell you, human leverage is the most important leverage. If I were to say from a point of view of a doctor, so that's the most important because that's the only way. Because if there are 100 people outside your clinic, can you see 100 people in a single day? You can't. So you have to figure out a way in which I can service the 100 people. Otherwise, you will see 25 people and the rest of them will go to your competition or somebody else. So it is an essential thing for a doctor who's also very successful. Second thing is a doctor who's, let's say, 55 years old and he now wants to take it easy. Okay, but he's become so popular that he's unable to take it easy. Now, how does he step out and ensure that he services people, but he still has his own time? So there are a lot of aspects of on this leverage. It is extremely critical for practitioners to start thinking in terms of corporate collaboration with other people. Dr. Senthil, you would like to add
Actually,
anything?
there is an interesting. Yes, actually, there is an interesting question. Maybe that can take the discussion to the next direction. So, please and other ways to earn dollars apart from practice, as a rupee is depreciating regularly. So doctor wants to earn only in dollars, not in rupees. And how please enlighten any courses available for that. If I understand this question right, maybe is how can I earn from ophthalmology and then use that money as a leverage to earn money in dollars or earn a multiple amount of maybe if I'm thinking is right, doctor, you can also unmute and ask your question directly also if I have understood it wrongly. So please enlighten other ways to earn dollars apart from practice as rupees is depreciating regularly. How best can we use ophthalmology to leverage? Also, please
Hello, sir.
enlighten on
Good
any
evening, sir.
courses.
I'm Dr.
Yes, sir.
Vamshi. I have asked the question and it is exactly what you have interpreted, sir.
Okay, okay. Thanks, doctor. So basically, I think earn from ophthalmology and how to earn dollars by investing that money, or how to earn using that money. Dharmendra
How
sir, you
best
can
can
add.
we use ophthalmology as a leverage to earn dollars?
Well, I'll tell you, number one is if you are going to go to the US and spend money, then you'll need dollars. Okay, if you're going to spend in money in India, then you need to leverage your ophthalmology to earn more income, to earn perhaps the same amount of income that your practice is giving you. So, for example, let's say I earn 3 lakhs rupees in practice. Can I earn 3 lakhs rupees, which is not from my practice? So, the moment that happens, then I know that I can slow down my practice or I can, because I'm anyway earning money. So, the best way to do is again leverage. So, like other people, so money is something that can be put to work. So, how much do you make your money sweat? So if you make your money sweat in a FD, then your money is going to give you 5 to 6% returns. If you make your money sweat in different places, you will get different amount of returns. And once you create a corpus, you can withdraw money from that. And when you withdraw money from that, that becomes a second source of income. And if you withdraw 4 to 5% of what your corpus is, your basic amount of money that you have, that is the wealth, will never get over. And so what is important is what is that 4 to 5%. For that, you need to create a corpus. So typically, if you have a corpus of 1 crore or 1.5 crores, then living a lifestyle of 50,000 rupees forever is possible. If you have a corpus of 3 crores, then living a lifestyle of maybe 1.5 lakh rupees is possible forever. So that is how you need to. And when I said this amount 5%, I'm taking inflation into account also, so that so your quality of life keeps increasing. Now, as far as dollars is concerned, I don't think you need to worry much about that, because the Indian economy is one of the fastest growing economies. It's also getting bigger and bigger, and the rupee is not going to become extremely weak. And also, if you look at the Indian rupees in terms of lifestyle, okay, you cannot, not necessarily you can compare rupees to dollars and rupees to even pounds, because the amount of earnings people have in India, okay, it buys them more goods and services than what people earn abroad. Even if the money is, for example, you go to buy a burger in McDonald's. Okay, in terms of rupees, here you may get something for even 100 rupees or 140 rupees. Okay, but over there it might actually cost much more in terms of dollars. It might be double. Okay, so I don't think we need to get caught in the dollar thing. But if you really want to conserve in terms of dollar thing, then you need to buy gold. But then gold doesn't give you the returns. Okay, but I don't think you need to worry much about the dollar if we are living in India. But what's more important is try to create an income which is equal to your practice, so that it allows you to kind of relax a bit.
Yeah, I would like to add something about this dollar and America. Basically, I think India is in the biggest boom kind of an environment. I think next 10, 15, 20 years is going to be the best time for India. And a lot of my friends in the US, and then I think one thing you can clearly see is many people, the number of people who go for higher education to US, or people who have gone there also, mostly the software people are coming back to India because India is not lagging behind. There are good salaries here. I think this myth of earning in dollars and that America is good, all those things have gone. I think we are, maybe it can be a confirmational bias also, but I think India is the best place to live as of now. Just forgetting that traffic and pollution and all these things, but still, in terms of growth, I think we are one of the most luckiest generations to live in India. And particularly if you're 40 years plus with some reasonable size of corpus, I think you are in a very good position to be in India to kind of lead a very good life. But forget the politicians, the corruptions, the pollution, and all these things. But still, I think America is not like before. I don't think we should go to America.
There is another question about Senthil.
And
Senthil,
I think that will be.
Senthil, your voice went.
Yes, yes. You can go to the other question. I didn't get to read that. Maybe I missed that question.
What are your thoughts about huge PE being formed into Indian healthcare? See, please understand one thing, that India is a growing economy. It is not an economy that has already grown. Okay, so whenever you are investing in a growing economy, that means the money that you are pouring in is actually going towards making the economy bigger and bigger. What happens is, number one, you are saying PE investing. So PE means people who analyze the country and then they put money behind the healthcare sector, because they know that India has a lot of young people who are going to grow up. Also, the disposable income is increasing in a growing economy. Now there are people are investing for their health, for preventive illness also. So healthcare clearly is a very, very attractive sector. Even we ask our clients to invest in healthcare. And bubble happens when investors invest, retail investors invest. And when retail investors invest by hearing the news. So the markets are going up, and people just think that this is a place where you can make money, and then they start pouring money, and then everybody becomes intelligent. That is where bubbles happen. But if you have a PE who's investing money, a venture capital who's putting in money, he's not he's not doing it emotionally. It's serious money. He has some logic behind it. So that doesn't lead to a bubble that will burst. And
Yeah,
healthcare is not a bubble to burst. Healthcare, manufacturing, and consumption are actually themes that will really pay a lot of dividends in the next 8 to 10 years. So they are extremely secular in nature at this point in time. So I don't think that is a cause of any concern, any long-term concern. Short-term is always going to be erratic. Short-term markets can crash for some political reason, for some global reason, for a war that happens. So short term is going to be erratic, but these are very secular themes in the long term, healthcare being one of them.
yeah, I would like to add to that point that see, whenever there is this hospital chain getting thousands of crores investment, or when you see that a nearby hospital is valued at hundreds of crores, there is a general thought that, okay, is this all like a black money coming in, or is a bubble which is going to burst? Will Lenskart fail? I think these are all like kind of too many assumptions, because the private equity in healthcare, or private equity in particular in eye care, is in the very early stages in India, because we have not seen the long end of the cycle. So nobody can predict, and it's not that all the money, because just like we are searching for money, there are so many countries where money is in excess and they are investing in these corporate chains. And I'm sure it's not that every company is going to burst, or it's a bubble which will burst and all these things, but there can be business failures. Not every company will succeed, but I think in India, with this huge healthcare market growing up, we are in the very early stages of private equity in eye care, and I think a lot more action is going to happen over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So there is going to be a lot of changes, but definitely a lot of consolidation is going to happen. Like the individual practices may get consolidated because there is
Your voice is again going.
limited availability of ophthalmologists, but I think yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah. In
Hello?
between, yeah, what you spoke,
Hello?
what you spoke now, we couldn't hear in the last half a
I
minute.
was telling that the private equity is still in the early stages, and we are going to see a lot more action, and
Yeah.
it's not a bubble like. And maybe there are some companies which will fail because of pure small business failures, but majority of the times these companies are going to survive, because healthcare is also expanding and people have got more spending power, and definitely it's going to stay. But consolidation is going to happen. Definitely there is going to be a lot of consolidation. The way we practice will be changing. We cannot be still practicing in the older format. I think a lot of changes will definitely happen. So any other question from the audience? Like,
I don't think I'm not very. I also don't understand bitcoins much, honestly. So, like Warren Buffett had says, no, that if you don't understand something, don't try it out. So, Bitcoin is something I don't see where the value is coming, but a lot of people, I think I need to learn more about Bitcoins to answer you.
yeah. One thing I will say,
No, we are unable to hear
uh,
you, sir. We are unable to hear you.
now see, because there was this concept of valuation, how much my practice is valued. But now I think I am in a very difficult internet. Just give me 1 minute, sir. Just give me 1 minute.
Yeah. In the meantime, Ravi Kampeli also is trying to speak, but we are unable to hear him. So, if we can unmute and speak, that would be nice.
I think there is one question of what is the, am I audible, sir? Now am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're audible. You're audible now.
Okay. So what is the chances of family run
No,
hospitals
sir, your voice again breaks.
You're getting timed out in between.
and grow in the future? I think maybe let us not take the name of any particular organization. Okay, sir, maybe reconnect with a better internet connection. Just give me 1 minute.
What are the chances of family-run eye hospitals like Arvind to sustain and grow in future? I think something like Arvind, or which has already become a brand. See, remember one thing, in our lives, if we can create a single brand, no, we'll be amongst the most successful people. Because brands are extremely difficult to create. And people, that is the reason if you are a front runner, you always have an advantage. I'll give you an example of Swiggy and Zomato. Swiggy and Zomato have become brands. Okay, it becomes very difficult for a third guy to come now. Okay, so Arvind and all these things, they are like very high on valuation. They have already arrived and they will definitely sustain. There's no question about that. It is a good practice to disclose lens cost and charge separately. This is something I would ask, Senthil will be better to answer this question.
Sir, am I audible now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible, sir. You're audible.
Okay, sorry, I'm in a bad internet connection. So is it a good practice to disclose lens cost and charge separately for surgery? What is, I think this may not be a apt question for this discussion. Maybe I think we can take it up later. So as Mr. Dharmendra was telling, I think no, the family-run eye hospital or these big brands, I think what carries the value is apart from their value, their EBITDA margins and all those things. I think the brand itself has a huge valuation. And as an individual practitioner, I think we also should also start creating that brand and focus more on our brand, and that brand can lead us to a good legacy creation. And as I was telling previously, now most of the individual practices are also getting valuated. Previously we didn't, nobody was looking at how much my practice was valued. And now it is having that valuation. And what do I do to increase my valuation to 4 times, 5 times, and 10 times? So if you're a smart ophthalmologist, I think smart doctor, now if somebody is giving you a valuation of say 50 crores, I think you should think of how do I make my valuation to 200 crores, or how can I make my valuation to 1000 crores. And for that, you need to apply this concept of leverage. You need to, because I think all the smart people who have created those chains of eye hospitals are way ahead in time because they have understood this concept of leverage. I think today's discussion is something, maybe this is like a prescription for success or opening up the secrets. Because let's say somebody who has created a chain hospital has understood all these concepts 15, 20 years back. That is why he understood that he cannot practice alone. He needs to get other people. He needs to use other people's money. He needs to use other people's skill and everything. So as of now, today, maybe there are 35 people who have attended this webinar. If even one or two can understand this concept of leverage and takes it up seriously, I think the next eye care chains can be created out of these ideas. So I think that's what was the whole idea of conducting this webinar, and we are happy that a lot of you were able to actively participate. So if there are questions, we can continue.
Sir, Ravi Kamipalli is from US. He's written, I'm in Atlanta, US, from Andhra Pradesh, India. And I think collaboration is the only way for humanity in bettering itself. I think it's not a question, but he's just echoing our point of view. What is the time to take another doctor? Is it 50 OPD per day? So what is the time to take another doctor? Would you like to answer that, Dr. Senthil?
The time to take another doctor is even before you start your practice, if you can have a good partner. Basically, because when you start as one doctor, it is always going to take some time to build it. If 4 doctors who are like-minded can come together, I think the time to take the doctor is even before you form your company and start a practice. But if at all you have started also, then I think it is, if you can leverage that getting the other doctors and convince them to work with you, convince them to share your vision, and add smarter doctors, then you should not, as I said, you should not be the smartest person. You can have a lot of smart than you. And I think that is another. So you don't really have to wait for reaching 50 OPD, 100 OPDs, 200 OPDs. So whenever you find that right partner, if you have a friend who you think both of you can travel together to kind of create a large organization, large legacy, I think that is the right time. So there is no time like waiting to reach 50, 100 to 200 patients. So it's getting the right partner. And if you feel, even while you're in residency, even while you're in college, if you feel that this is a doctor whom I can work with, so you should join with them right at that time. Myself, Dr. Ramesh from Belgaum, Karnataka, good and much needed program, and it is helping budding ophthalmology like me to have a better perspective in ophthalmic business. Thank you, sir. So basically, I would also like to introduce our, because what we understood was a lot of young ophthalmologists also needed the support of business support, and not just these webinars, because these webinars, when we conduct, we are very excited, we understand a little bit, pick up knowledge here and there, but I think what is important is to have a continuous process of learning and continuous process.
आपको कस्बा हिल्स मालूम है क्या?
Can you mute
चुकुडानी मालूम है क्या? वो वही उसी पे है, चुकुडानी के बाजू में ही.
Dr. Anand, can you mute yourself, please? Yeah, yeah. So basically, I think we are also launching this 1 year continuous kind of a practice development hand-holding program where you will be having all these insights. I think it's important to have a continuous engagement, and we are trying to get as many experts like Dharmendra sir also to be involved with this for this program. And it has been priced very reasonably for the lot of efforts which we are going to put in. And we wanted to be kind of a hand-holding kind of a program to take your practice to that next level for you to understand the business concept. So only 50 practices we are planning to take. Already around 20-25 have signed in. So if you want to have more information about that, please do message me. I will send you the details. And we are starting it from January. As we always do, it is an experiment, but I'm sure it will really help a lot of people. And so please do register, and I'll share the information about that program also with you.
Also, one must understand that, when if 4 or 5 or 6 doctors come together, okay, because see, it is impossible to create hundreds of good brands, but hundreds of people can come and create one big brand. Okay, so, and that is again collaboration, and that's also leverage. So let's say 5, 6, 7 doctors come and build one big brand. They may be the owners of the brand, but moment you build a big brand, or moment you build a big operation, a system, sometimes what happens is I've built a system, a hospital, I've hired doctors, and we have 4, 5 people, we are running it. And let's say we're not making too much of money. Okay, so you may feel that, what have I done? But if you have built a good system, if you have good people, if you have good doctors, there will be other venture cap, the PE investors and etc., who might give you a huge amount of valuation for the hard work you have done, and they might pump money for you. So the point is don't think of always creating individually big brands. It is important to come together to build big brands. That's very important. And it doesn't have to be co-branded, multiple 5 names. Just build one brand, become co-owners of it. That's again very important.
Yeah, I think that is a very interesting point you have discussed, and maybe we will have to have one program only for that kind of a discussion only, like how can doctors come together to create a brand, because many of the doctors have joined and those models have failed previously because I think of improper execution or expectations mismatch or ego reasons. So maybe now there are lots of doctors who are at least coming together. I see groups in Uttarakhand, or even there are groups in Gorakhpur where 5, 6 doctors have started their practice under a common name. So though they own individually different centers, but at least the name is common, they share some infrastructure, they share some expertise among themselves. There is also another group, I think, which has got 20 or hospitals where they all have the main branding, and also they are a part of a larger group where they do some marketing and all those things in a common way. So even in Hyderabad, there is a group which has 4 or 5 doctors have joined together. So there are lots of models which are emerging, and I think we will have a separate discussion for that also. It might be needed because sometimes that model has not been perfected. So we are also working on that, and we will have another discussion on that. So any more questions or? So one thing I would like you all to take back is this thought of that products which services which can scale without that marginal cost of replication. So I don't know if you have understood that, and if you keep digging deep on that concept, which was propagated by Naval Ravikant also. So I think that is something which is very, very interesting. So if you can understand that and try to apply it on your day-to-day practice. What are all the things which can be done without incurring repeated cost? I think that is one of the most important form of leverage. So is it advisable to go for a hospital management software, especially cloud-based service? Yeah, as I said, technology is the biggest leverage. If you are not embracing technology, I think you are not going to grow. So there is no question of not using a hospital management software. The biggest problem doctors have is they don't want to spend for softwares, and they think software is also cheap. Just like we invest 30 lakhs for OCT and all these equipments, I think investing for a good software is going to give us the biggest form of leverage, because technology, as I said, is the biggest form of leverage. If you have a good software, you can have good analytics, good analysis of your patients, and having the software, having the database of your patient is also important for your valuation. You can send, let's say you track your diabetic patients, send them messages for diabetic retinopathy, track your revenues. I think there is no question of not having a software, and having a very good software is important. And there is nothing wrong in cloud-based, because everything is now cloud-based. I think there is a misconception that cloud-based software will steal my data and all these things. The software companies are in the business of software creation. They're not in, most of them are not in the business of data creation. So if you pay decently, understand that the software well, and have decent expectations for the money paid, I think there are a lot of good software companies in India which will provide you the healthcare software. So we can have the discussion in private also about some of the recommendations and all these things. Please send me a message. But definitely, I think technology, using artificial intelligence, using see, you want to create a PPT, you use, there are so many apps now. So it has created a lot of benefit and saved a lot of time for us. So embracing technology in terms of right from the software to artificial intelligence, all these things are going to be important forms of leverage. I think gaining knowledge not only in the discipline of ophthalmology, but knowledge in every discipline, knowledge in a lot of varied disciplines, right from physics to astronomy to astrology. I think that also will give you a lot of leverage. And reading books, I think one of the most important leverage you can get is by reading a lot of books, not only on the subject matter, but also on different topics, and attending, collaborating with people who are not ophthalmologists, collaborating with people who are from different walks of life, right from politicians to astrologers to everybody, I think gives you a lot of different perspective. And attending meetings which are being part of organizations which are not only ophthalmology related, but being part of associations which are in business, which are in entrepreneurship, all those things, I think, gives you leverage. Why did Leonardo da Vinci have his leverage? Because why Mona Lisa became the most prominent, most sought after painting? Because Da Vinci was not only an artist, he was also a sculptor. He was also a military war specialist. He was an anatomist. He used to dissect bodies and understand the muscle structure and everything. So he was many things together. So he had that leverage of multidisciplinary knowledge. And like Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, they had that leverage because they used to read so many books of varying subjects. So they had that leverage of multidisciplinary knowledge also. I think those are all important things. I don't know if people are understanding. There is lots of silence, or am I talking too much? I really don't know. So, any other questions? Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. You're audible.
So, yeah. So we can have one or two questions, and then I think we can wrap up the session. It is going to be 9:30. So we have another 5-10 minutes. Dr. Vinod Arora, some comments. Is it a wonderful learning, Dr. Senthil and Dharmendra? Thank you, madam. Thanks.
It's a quite good one. I think it's a lot new concept for us also. And we hardly think of the financial part or other parts. Just we keep on busy in practice and try to excel in clinical sense. But nowadays we have to look for the finances also.
Yeah.
We are just have to utilize our services to a maximum level. We have to utilize our potential. And rightly you said we should do whatever is most important for us. And one person cannot do all the things. Delegation is probably one of the most important things we are learning. And it's a slow process, but we are getting used to it. And I think one of the topic I would like to suggest you, maybe in the near future, is the retirement of a doctor.
Yeah.
That's again a very important thing because we keep on working like anything and suddenly we stop working or we sell it to any chain or something. So how should we plan also just to exit from our practice? That's again a very important thing for us.
Sir, that is something, one of our favorite topics.
Okay.
So had you told this earlier, we would have come prepared with that. We are prepared with it, but it'll definitely take some time. We'll have some Excel sheets. But I think you have raised a very, very important question. And I have, see, if you see, I have a lot of association with doctors, not only because of Dr. Senthil, but as a family also, we have many doctors in our family. In the past, doctors used to take a lot of pride that they can practice till the age of 80. Okay, or 75. I think there is a one that needs to be revisited. I think there's a lot more in life than to keep. My father-in-law just passed away. He was a very well-known doctor in Bhubaneswar. He was doing surgery till the age of 80. Okay, then one fine day he had problems, and then suddenly he didn't live a life after that at all. I mean, last 3-4 years was very difficult that he has lived. Doctors have to think very seriously that they should also retire. And I think somewhere that's where money management is becomes very important. My father-in-law used to take a lot of pride in earning 1.5 lakh rupees a month at the age of 75, 76, 77. But you'll be surprised that, when we reorganized his money, a lot of money was in FD and all those kind of things. Today, I mean, he's not there, but his wealth is producing at least 5 lakhs rupees a month, which means that my father-in-law could have enjoyed a lifestyle of 2 lakhs rupees a month all the way from the 65, 70, not from at least from 70. For 10 years of life, he could have got 3-4 lakhs, much more than his practice, and he could have done anything with his time. But he chose to practice. Maybe it was not money that was driving him alone, but that 1.5 lakhs of rupees that he was earning was giving him a kick. Okay, but he did not have the knowledge that money can make money. So even with his money, he could have created a cash flow of more than twice his practice. And today, he's in a position to earn even the 4 to 5 lakhs a month. But he's no more there. So I think this is a very, very important point you have brought in, sir. And second thing is, who says that practicing and meeting clients is the only contribution to medicine? Contribution is in many other forms. You can do research, you can participate, you can go to conference, even if you don't want to leave the branch, you want to stay there. But it doesn't mean that only practicing is the only way that you can contribute. So doctors may want to try different things, go for more conferences, learn more, contribute more in a different way, train other doctors, build a hospital, run it efficiently. So, and when you get into that space, you are not going to consume so much of your time. So when you retire also, you get 50% of your time, and the balance 50% you do what you want to do. So it's a very, very important thing, but I think it requires a few Excel sheets and to show you that how much your money can work for you, how much of wealth it can create for you. Even if you keep withdrawing more money, your money doesn't get over. So, so this is a very interesting thing. We can always do a session around this.
Right.
Yeah, and one more thing, we are now working on this concept of skill to scale, because doctors are generally skill based. How do you convert yourself from skill to scale? And though we are doing online workshops, if you want us to come to your city, town, to talk to a set of doctors on this concept, we will be more than happy to come and talk to you. And at least Dharmendra sir and myself have decided that this concept has to reach all over India. So if at all you need, if you can organize a group of doctors in your own hospital or in your local association, we'd be very happy to come and speak to the set of people, not an issue. So how to collaborate, approach new doctors to collaborate, how to share profits, how much percentage to give. I think that is maybe we would also do one session on collaboration. What are the different types of collaboration? And I think there is at least 10 or 12 different subsets of the skill to scale. And one of the thing is collaboration. So we will have a separate session on that only. And if you need some information, message me and I can give you some information if you are needing to understand that as a case study, or if you want to collaborate with somebody immediately in the near future. But we will be having one session on collaboration only. So that will maybe in January mostly. So if there are no other questions, I think we can wrap up the session. And thank you for being a wonderful audience. And we have had almost 35 people who have come. And thanks to iElite group. Though I think the elite people have already understood the concept of leverage. So maybe they have not come. They thought maybe that is also true.
We got 2 or 3% from elite group also.
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Nulva Patrick was there, Dr. Samina was there.
Yeah. But yeah. So everybody is an elite. I don't think there is everybody is an elite on their own way. And I think we all have our own uniqueness and a lot of our own strengths for us. And so thank you for being.
So before I end, I think I must also, this is something you should understand, that Dr. Senthil also is an ophthalmologist. But he has all the time. He can go to any part of the country and he still earns a lot of money. So the whole idea is happens because he has leveraged. And I think the biggest example in front of you is Dr. Senthil himself. Okay.
I would agree with everything other than earns a lot of money. I think I'm contented with whatever money I'm
Okay,
earning.
let's say he earns enough of content money, but the point is he has multiple sources of income, and he doesn't have to do practice every day. But that doesn't mean he's not contributing to the medical fraternity or the subject. Okay, he does many things, and perhaps he learns a lot more, contributes a lot more. So this is the best example is Dr. Senthil himself,
Yes,
amongst.
sure, no doubt.
Because you ask Dr. Senthil that, can you come to Mumbai tomorrow? He will say, yes, I can come. That means he can find time. So he owns a lot of time. And I think, in short, our whole purpose is all of us should own our time and should multiply our time. And there are possibilities of doing that. And that is what we've been trying to bring on board.
Yeah, the biggest freedom as per Naval Ravikant is time freedom. It's not having 100 crores in your bank account, but if you have that freedom of time, I think that gives you a lot more power. I think that time freedom will come only when you have that leverage. So I think that is can be a parting note. And Please do send your feedback about the session to me personally also. If there is something which you want to kind of change, or if you didn't understand, if you always welcome for positive, negative kind of feedbacks. And hoping to meet all of you in person also. And thank you for being a lovely audience, and have a wonderful weekend. And let's catch up in our next session or in person. I will also be in Pune Ophthalmic Society conference next week. So we can also, if you are some of you are there, we can meet up there also. And thank you, Dharmendra sir, for, I think you traveled a lot today from Odisha, and thanks for being here with all of us and sharing your knowledge. And thank you, everybody, and have a good night. Thank you, Vinod Arora sir, for
Thank you.
organizing this meeting, and thanks to all the participants for being a lovely audience.